Hey everybody, Adam here with Hometown Acres. Welcome back. So we're down here at the sawmill today and we're going to talk about lumber prices. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to the stock market at all lately, but how lumber is traded is per 1,000 board foot. And back during the peak of last summer when lumber prices were through the roof, lumber was trading at, I think it was about $1,600 per 1,000 board foot. And then we had a nice drop in lumber prices. It went down to about $400 or $500. And then now it's going back up. It's about $900 or $1,000 per 1,000 board foot. Now, what does that work out to in terms of the price of 2x4s at Home Depot? Well, back during the summer spike, it was about $9 or $10 a 2x4x8 here at our Home Depot local to us. And then just recently here, they dropped down to about $350, and now they're starting to climb back up to about $550. So when lumber prices are low and 2x4s are in that $3 price range, it doesn't really make sense to make rough sawn lumber, framing lumber on a sawmill, because it's pretty cheap to just buy it from the store. Really, when lumber prices are low, I'd probably be better off spending my time milling hardwoods and live edge slabs and things like that. But when lumber prices start to creep up like they are, and it's $5, $6, $7 a 2x4, I'm probably going to be milling some 2x4s on the sawmill here. And that's what we're going to do today. We're going to start milling some 2x4s and 2x6s and some good framing lumber that it's good to have on hand. And we'll see what we get to by the end of the day, and we'll take a tally at today's prices how much we can mill today. So I have a really good starting point because I've put a lot of work into these logs already. I probably have 1 to 2 hours in going to pick these logs up, and then I've got probably another 2 to 3 hours in getting them milled down into cants. So all of the hard work is done with this lumber. Now all I've got to do is just go ahead and, measure out and see what makes the most sense between 2x4s, 2x6s, all that framing lumber. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw the pallet forks on the tractor, and we'll go ahead and start cutting this stuff up. Should be pretty easy sawing today with what I've got started already. So one really nice thing about this easy boardwalk is I've seen other sawmills out there, you have to get out your torque wrench to spec your blade to the torque that it's required. But on this one, they give you a nice little indicator that when that washer is directly underneath that piece of square steel, you know that your torque is set properly for your blade. So right about there. It's about even with that indicator marker. No torque wrench required. Right about there is 0. Oh, perfect, we're right at 15. So to drop it, what do we measure at? 1 3/4 inches? I need to go down 14. There. So does that line up with the mark we made? So I started at 15 here, we brought down our sight glass to 13 and 3 or 13 and a quarter. So that means that that first cut is going to be 1.75 inches, which leaves us some room for drying, because the wood's going to shrink as it dries. So 1/4 inch, by the time this dries, it should be about 1.5 inches, which is what would be your standard lumber from the box store. If we get started doing a project and we need to supplement what we've made here, we can go buy stuff and it'll all be the same size as the stuff we milled. All right, so this is our first attempt at milling dimensional lumber, and out of that one log, we got 32 2x4 by 10 footers. They're actually 10'6", but you always leave an extra 6 inches for any splitting and checking that might happen at the ends for finishing. I just checked Home Depot's website right now. These are selling for $8.62 a piece. So if you take $8.62 times 32, that one log was somewhere in the neighborhood of $275. Now, I know that Home Depot's lumber is kiln dried and it's finished and all that, but to be honest, I can use these for the same exact thing. So in my book, this is $275 worth of framing lumber here. We got 2 more logs to go. All right, so here is the finished stack. We ended up getting another 5 2x10 by 12s out of that last log. Now I am gonna move these. I'm gonna take these down to my neighbor's concrete pad so they're sitting on nice level ground to dry out. And when I do that, I'm gonna reverse the pile. So I gave myself a nice bit of room that I can get the forks underneath the 2x10s, and I'll actually put those down first, and then I'll go pick up the 2x6s and 2x4s and put those on top of the 2x10s. So that way I've got a nice pyramid stack of lumber with all of my bigger stuff on bottom and working my way up through the 2x6s and then the 2x4s on top. Now for the final tally of what we got out of those 3 logs, if you can see that, we had 32 2x4x10s, 12 2x6x10s, 1 2x10x10, 5 2x10x12s, and 1 1x10x12. Now if you tally all of that up,
it worked out to about $570 worth of lumber.
And again, that's going to be Home Depot prices, which is kiln dried, finished on all 4 sides. This is rough sawn lumber. It still needs to dry a little bit. So you're going to take that number with a grain of salt. It's just for comparison's sake. I can use all of this same lumber for the same things that I would use that Home Depot lumber for. But I'll tell you what, guys, I absolutely love this Easy Boardwalk 40 sawmill. There's something so satisfying about taking trees off of your property and making some dimensional lumber out of it that you know you'll be able to use to build a structure at some point down the road. But I think that's gonna about wrap this one up. If you guys enjoyed this one, give me a big thumbs up, click that subscribe button, and we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching.